Are you a woman standing at a crossroads, eager for change? It's time to connect with your authentic and empowered self at Boss Leap. Join Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker in this empowering community where real-life stories of courageous and talented women inspire and motivate. Engage in honest conversations that foster well-being, drawing from our own journeys. Let us guide you toward profound growth and transformation in both your personal and professional life. Here are your hosts, Dr. Sylvia Morris and Dr. Angela Walker.
Welcome to Boss Leap. Brave women, bold stories, big leaps. Today, we're kicking off our Best Of series with 4 powerhouse voices from our first season. You'll hear from Candy Carter, the entrepreneur and creator of Shop Red Bag that is revolutionizing how we shop by amplifying women, people of color, and military-owned businesses. Shea Grant Gibbs, the author of The Process, whose memoir blends practical wisdom with a beautiful tribute to her mom. Liberty White, an AI entrepreneur who is pushing women to the forefront of tech, and Nichelle Phillip, who reminds us to pour into ourselves and to protect our light. These conversations moved and inspired us, and we can't wait for you to hear these awesome women. Let's dive into the very best of Boss Leap.
Taken all of that leadership, and now we'd love to hear, we know this past Juneteenth you launched Shop Red Bag. How did you take the leap from media to online shopping with such a purpose? And if you tell our listeners about it.
Yeah, so I was the executive producer of The View for many years. And when I was there, and it's still on today, it's called View Your Deal. Or if you ever watch morning shows and you see them selling products in the morning,
yes,
you can go online and shop. I've been doing, look, we did Oprah's favorite things at Oprah.
Yes.
I did View Your Deal when I was the executive producer of The View. I did deals when I was the executive producer of Tamron Hall. And so the company that I brought in, I decided to basically leave daytime TV and get on the e-commerce side full time. And then after being at that company for a couple of years, I rolled off with another woman and we launched our company, Sistas Media. And so what Sistas Media does is we turn viewers into shoppers. We do that in movies, TV shows. We're working on a movie that Mary J. Blige is producing. We have the Sherry Shepherd Show. We're doing merch for the Sherry Shepherd Show.
So is that like product placement, or how is that different?
So the way that works is I go to the big media partner and I say, I'm going to build a store for you. I'm going to white label it so it looks like your store. And then you're going to promote it in your TV show or in your movie. And then we're going to do all the work in the background. We're going to get the brands that match your audience because we want your audience to be excited, right? Mm-hmm. We're working on a soap opera right now. So basically, I go to big media partners and I say, hey, I'm going to turn your viewers into shoppers. I'll do all the work in the background. Your only job is to promote the store. And so right now we have stores with BET, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Warner Brothers, Sherry Shepherd. We're launching a store with Tegna TV stations across the country. And then we have lots of other things coming down the pike. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And we're really just expanding this idea throughout the country. Now, Shop Red Bag. So that is my business. But while we were doing Shop with BET, and the DEI rollbacks happened and the Target boycott happened, I was on social media and the brands were like, how are people going to find us? And what are we going to do with all this inventory? People were panicking. They were upset. And then people in general were outraged and like, how are we going to find them? So because we were already doing online stores, I said, and we already have hundreds of brands that we work with, I said, why don't we put together a platform so people can find these brands? We will make a Target alternative called Shop Red Bag. Random title means nothing. And we've got all the essentials plus other things, and we're adding brands every single day. So Shop Red Bag is a movement. It's not just a store, it's a movement. We are in a time where our money matters more
Matters.
than anybody can imagine.
Mhm.
We are about to lose control over a lot of things, but we have not
Mhm.
lost control over our wallet. And our wallet
Mhm.
spoke to Target, and you see what happens.
The
Yeah.
Wallet just
CEO is stepping
That's
down or
right.
being replaced or something. Yes.
That's right. Well, no, that was a Jedi mind trick. They just moved him to chairman of the board and then
Uh-huh.
moved somebody else within the company over. So
But same mission remains the same. Mhm.
that's why they're still being boycotted. But the
Mhm.
bottom line is Shop Red Bag. Basically, the way it works is they come in the store. You come in the store and you buy something, and we send it directly to the brand. So the brand is essentially just getting lift from the store, and all the sales go directly to the brands. So
Okay.
it's something that people need to share, spread it. We have women owned, Black owned, veteran owned, LGBTQIA plus, and you can shop by category. If you're like, I want to shop intentional and I only want to shop women owned brands,
Yeah.
browse categories, women owned brands. You can
Absolutely.
just
And
shop Black owned brands.
That's
I went
ingenious.
on
I
to
love
look
that.
at
Yeah.
it. It was
Same.
being able to navigate was easy. You felt like you were in one of your usual places where you go and buy stuff online. You know, it was eye-catching. It was easy to use. And I liked the idea of being able to say, oh, I want to shop solely with Black women or whatever your particular demographic is. So kudos to
Agreed.
you.
Yeah.
How do you
So my entire Christmas list will be
Please.
coming from
Beautiful
Shop Red Bag.
candles and all the things.
Yes.
These are, look, the other thing about
All
these
the luxury items.
Yeah, but the thing about these brands is that the quality is better than the mass-produced items because these are diverse people. So there's one brand in there called Buttered that I love. I use it every single day. It's an
Is that the shea butter?
No, well, that's really good too.
Okay.
And butter, so we have shea butter. We have the first natural alternative to Vaseline.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Nice.
Black-owned brand. Buttered, too, is an oil. So every day I put it on my skin, and I'm a dark-skinned girl. I put it on my legs and feet, no ash at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I kid you
That's the
not,
test.
no ash.
Yes.
So that has become one of my favorite products. I think it's in vanilla mango flavor. The shea butter is amazing. I'm buying my bamboo toilet paper. My thing is that
Yes, I saw
I
that
use
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't expect anybody to spend all their money on Shop Red Bag. But if everybody spent a quarter of their monthly spend there, we will literally uplift diverse brands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I mean, why not? I mean, to push back, why not spend if you can find everything that you need in this platform and you're wanting to, support small businesses, women-owned brands, Black-owned, LGBTQ. I mean, why not use this type and with you're shopping with intention as well,
Right.
and reasonable prices. So I think, that
Prices are reasonable.
kudos.
We're offering free shipping. Shopredbag.com, shopredbag.com, shopredbag.com.
Sharing what's happening to you. I think sometimes we want to just keep it to ourselves because we don't want to complain or we don't want to seem like we're weak or whatever.
But you're not alone.
Somebody else needs to hear your story to help them get through. Really. But I said my family before because I've seen my family struggle and get through it. So therefore, I know that I can get through it. Just some of that is with us. So, yeah.
It's a very good insight and perspective and definitely a lot of pearls. So now that you have, transitioned, how did you
get to the
motivated you?
MBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to.
And why?
Yeah, we're good. This is all good. Good intel.
So the MBA portion happened literally. So, I graduated 2015 and then boom, 2022. I'm like, COVID is done. I'm getting out of this job. I'm applying to jobs every day. And I'm also, my best friend started at Howard. And I'm like, okay, never thought about Howard, mind you, never. And so I got a chance to hang out with her cohort. And I was like, oh, they're amazing. Like, they don't know me, but they were uplifting me. They were like, you should just try it. Like, everybody needs a piece of this. This is good info. We'll share whatever we have with you, but you get your own letters, so nobody can play with you. And just that that accountability I haven't
But
had in quite some
Nichelle, that's
time.
also what you do for other people as well. So that doesn't surprise me not one little bit. It's true.
You're right. I guess I needed some of me around. And I was like, man, I need that. So I applied to a job and I applied to the MBA program. Oh, one key thing. I was talking to my Aunt Denise and I was like, man, do I really do Howard? Because my great grandfather went to Howard and he didn't finish. My grandfather went to Howard and he didn't finish. My mom and dad met at Howard and they didn't get to finish. Do I go? She was like, I mean, you could end it.
Right.
You could be the one to say, we're complete.
Break that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I was like, I festered on that and I was like, I'm applying. We're going to get in. That's what I'm putting on there. Ending a curse and starting a legacy.
Wow.
And here we are.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful way to
That's
end
how
it.
we got.
And as of the taping of this podcast, you graduated from Howard's MBA program. I'm going to call it Mother's Day weekend of 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It feels so good. It feels so good.
You deserve
I've
it.
cried so many times.
Tears of happiness. Absolutely. So how do you plan on using your MBA? And I think the other question is, when you initially applied to business school, to B school, what did you envision doing? And then how is it different now?
Okay, those are good questions. Thank you. One of the biggest things that I thought that I was going to do with my MBA was just find the true stepping stools to keep myself in the government, but get higher in the government. Because as y'all heard throughout the podcast, that I've worked at almost 5 or 6 different government agencies. Yeah. So
why'd you like working for the feds? I mean, you got that good government job.
Yeah.
And if you're on permanent, you got a pension. I get all that. But why do you like working for the feds?
Well, it's so many benefits, but also it's what I know. It's like my family, half of my family work in the government. So, I think it's like the same thing if somebody was a shoemaker, like then I would get into the shoe business if somebody was so my family have been in it. Also, being in the government, it's not what people say it is. It's not as wasteful as they think. We are civil servants. And someone else put it in a perspective of it's a thankless job sometimes. Like you don't get thank yous for the people that you help. So my last government agency was USAID.
Tell us what USAID is.
So United States Agency of International Development. And
huge cuts this year.
Absolutely. When they say dismantle, it's a very nice way of saying hostile takeover. We were not allowed to come back in the building. Your things are in there. And then you see on the news all these hurtful, nasty things about a agency that you saw nothing but good stuff being done for the people.
Respond to that in the moment.
Cry. You cry your eyes out. You cry your eyes out because I just don't think that people understood what US aid was about. I don't. Yeah. And so because they don't know, they just say, just throw it away. It's one of those things where we will see.
What's one thing I know that USAID does a lot of good around the world. And truthfully, within the United States, as far as buying food products that then may be shipped to countries outside the United States. But could you please tell us like one thing about USAID that you think that people should know?
I think that the connections that USAID was doing for us outside of the United States.
Mhm.
So it's just being kind to one another, building a relationship. They also helped individuals around the world, not only with food, but with medication.
Mhm.
And I think that, like, I saw one time about they were like, they wasted their money on condoms. Absolutely, they bought condoms, but it wasn't a waste because in different parts of Africa, HIV is at a high rate, and they were sending medicine for HIV patients, condoms for individuals who want to still, you know, do their thing. And they also had other basically like resources that they gave out to individuals who didn't have that availability. So that's some of the things that I do
Yeah.
know about USAID.
And
I
I was
used
just
to call them
comment.
the hippies
Uh,
of of the like government agencies because they really wanted love and peace.
My mother she wasn't a person that was like fun in the sense that she played all the time, but
I'm,
'cause she was
I'm not one of your little friends.
right. I'm not your little friend. And she was always teaching you lessons. But you had to learn how to have fun within her teaching you lessons. And I just
mm,
remember when I was younger, sometimes it would just seem overwhelming because I would just always think, can we just have some downtime? But now, literally, all those things that she's taught me is how I live my life. So I talk to my brother all the time, and we're always saying, not just that we miss her, but he'll say something or I'll say something that's just like mom. And we're constantly saying, you sound just like mom. You sound just like mom. So her presence is just here. And even how I'm raising Grant and just being a wife and mother and even being an instructor, it just oozes out of me constantly.
Can you share one of Miss Moselle's expressions?
Yes. Well, I can tell you like two things I'm thinking about. Just because Grant is at the age of transition now where he just graduated and he's in college. And I can remember her saying, now that I'm in this space, she would tell me, home is not, in the space that you're in now, home is not for comfort, it's for safety. And I'm like, I don't understand that. And what she meant by it was, I'm giving you the opportunity to lock in and stay focused, get your degree or your certification, and this is a time that you have to, while you're here with me, to do that, not play around. This is not the time for you to come into your own or try to become a full-fledged adult while you're in my house. So basically, she was just letting me know that you have a limited time and you need to make the most of it. And when you get on your own and can provide for yourself, that's when you can do all the things that you want to do. She also used to say, to me that I thought, and I use this principle a lot, if people's words are not, if their actions are not aligning with their words, don't believe them.
Mhm.
Mm,
Mhm.
that's a powerful one.
How about that?
That's a
Yes.
powerful one. I loved all the Miss Moselle isms in your book. Tell me a little bit more about you better talk to your fool self.
Oh, yes. That one was
I was laughing
awesome.
out loud when I was reading.
She used to tell me that all the time in her, in the 3 days rants of being highly upset with me. Yeah, she would say, you need to talk to your food self. And, I remember like just because what I would do when when she was calm and we were in a good mood, I would talk to her. And I would
Mhm.
say, why do you say that? And she just would say, there are times when you need to talk to yourself so that you can kind of debrief and analyze what is going on. And she's so right. There's been times where I take baths and I get in that bathtub and I will download the day or I will play something out because I know that I didn't really respond the way I needed to respond. So I'll play it out because I know I'm going to repeat that situation again. And I know I want to respond differently. And I will talk it through literally to myself out loud so that I'll be prepared for when I approach that situation again. It's that one alone has helped me so much in regards to even controlling my feelings as well.
What a lesson. Wow. I received that one. Well, you can either not acknowledge what you've done wrong, which a lot
Right.
of people do because they don't do the debrief. but then trying to play through how you would do it differently.
Absolutely.
I think is, that is valuable advice. And
Yeah.
I have so many things that I took and have written down, but that will be another one.
Yes. That was definitely one of the ones that helped me. So, and like I say, I use that one to this day. And it's amazing how I talk to my son, and even in class, I share that with the learners all the time. It just helps you so much play
Yeah.
things out from your perspective as well as someone else's perspective.
In that, you write about fog, that
Mm.
unclear, messy middle, and
Yeah.
then light, which feels like clarity or divine direction. How did
Mhm.
those ideas show up in your journey?
Well, when you're watching someone lose their mind in front of you, the way that showed up in regards to, once you're having that fog, because there's a situation that's happening and you both are experiencing it completely different. My mother was experiencing it in the form of losing her independence, being in a space where she was completely not used to in regards to being a single mom, and now having to be told that we have to, take the car keys away from you, or now you're going to have to stay somewhere else, or all these new things. And she's always prided herself on being this independent person. But at the same time, you as a child are navigating this space of having to be caretaker for your parent, which means that you got to learn how to, like my mother, I was the youngest, and she used to call me Pooh. And I love being Pooh. That was my name, kind of like wrote that out. I act like Pooh, but, as her caretaker, I remember thinking in the beginning, she wasn't really responding to me the way I needed her.
Mm.
And after talking to my food self, thinking, what's going on here? I need for her to respond. But because she was calling me Pooh and I was still acting like Pooh, again, my actions, right? That's the response that I was getting from her. And I had to navigate knowing how to reshift to caretaker so that my mom could respond to me in that way. When business needed to be taken care of, or when I needed for her to do something, I wasn't Pooh. I was serious. So when you have those two things running parallel, you go through this fog yourself because, again, she was my person. And now she's not someone that I can tell these things, or, she can give me words of wisdom. I'm having to do those things myself. So, you start thinking about what kind of principles can you put in place to navigate this space. And one of the things that I did was gratefulness, just waking up every morning when I was getting ready and like literally listing out everything I could think of until I ran out to be grateful. And that just became like a way of life, because I'm looking at someone lose things. And although, yes, I'm experiencing the things that I'm experiencing, God is still good, and I should be very grateful. And I have the privilege of actually doing something that my mom was able to do something for me, and having the support from my husband and my brother to be able to be in this space to do it.
So you're talking about you get to do something, and we have been talking about that concept over the last several episodes. But also, how do you keep your faith? Because your mother has a disease that is progressive, and how do you still stay grateful and then also just remain rooted in your faith?
Remembering your why, a part of that talking to your food self, a lot of that came into place. I would constantly have to remind myself of why. And in the midst of the journal, especially around about the time where we found out that my mom was ill and navigating this and going further along through this, I realized then, as Benny and I would always discuss about the legacy piece in regards to what we want to leave Grant, I'm like, this is what I want to leave him. I want to leave him and his future family a process in real time of what it looks like. Because oftentimes when you see people, you see the end, right? And people kind of brushed over the middle part, but I wanted to document in real time what I was feeling, so that people know that when they get into these spaces, including my son and now for everybody else, that think it not strange. It's not strange. And you can keep going. Those feelings that you're having, they're normal, right? But you can keep moving. So those were the things. It was, being grateful and understanding that, you know, in this gratefulness, being able to look at everything that you're dealing with, just keep moving. Because when in the motion, you just never know like where you wind up, and you get better, and you stay more grateful. And it just allows you to just continue.
Right. And I think my favorite expression of yours, or perhaps it's your brother's, is that it's a reminder it's not always Six Flags. So that
Yes.
messy middle, it is
Yes.
not always fun and games. But if you keep moving, then you continue to make progress, and you eventually move toward the light.
You do. And I also realized, you know, when you're growing, that growth is connected to losses. I realized that during that phase. Anytime you decide on any level, if you want to say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to do this, in making that statement, it's also, you need to identify, what am I willing to lose? What am I willing to sacrifice, to put down, so that I can get this outcome? And so for me,
But I
knowing
don't
that.
want to give up anything, Shia. I want it all. I want all the cake. I want everything.
Exactly.
And ice cream.
Exactly. And that's why this is so important, because especially when you have, people, kids or younger people in your family, that's around you, they need to understand that in this world of instant success sometimes, that in most cases, everything is a process. From the moment you say you want to do something till you get into that outcome, there's an in-between phase. And oftentimes you don't know what you have to deal with in that in-between phase until you get in there. So remembering your why and understanding that loss is a part of growth kind of keeps you from feeling like, you're the victim in the situation.
When I think about artificial intelligence, the first thing I kind of heard about it was when they were kind of coming up with what people look like, and they were creating
The avatars?
avatars.
Yeah.
For the popular myth in the community was, well, for Black women, they were not always sort of, they didn't express or reflect the diversity of what Black women look like. So how do we then make sure that there's representation as far as when we talk about artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so and you make a very valid point that because these artificial intelligence is basically mimicking human behavior. So the data is based on whoever's
All the racism, sexism, I'm just going to say it,
Yes.
all of that, misogyny. Okay.
all of that is in there because it's training on what's existing. So if we want to train that means Dr. Sylvia, Dr. Angela, you've got to create things for the input or providing data. And that's a whole other episode where we talk about cybersecurity and safety, because inherently those are all valid and important. So when do we give our data so that these models are trained accurately as well? How many of us have the resources to even build models? So now people are using our models so that, and that's a whole other, I can see that coming down in the coming years, is that there's going to be a need for, well, what is your model? And people using your model based on the data that because it's all lived experiences, right?
Right.
So we need a variety of that for us to accurately use the technology.
Whose lived experience is a phrase that comes to my mind. But can we back up? Sure. How did you get into information technology? How did you get into IT?
Oh, so I guess this is, again, the entrepreneur side pops up. So I'm going to date myself, but going back to university. So I went to the University of Toronto, and it was at the time where the internet and websites were coming up. And I was like, I went to school for a major in sociology, minor English and French. But then I was doing events and community activities. I was like, if I learn how to make web pages, then I can make some extra money.
Wow.
So you were
there
throwing
she is.
parties and all sorts of things.
Yeah, doing different events. And then it was like, okay, let me switch my classes. So I put my university classes in the evening time, and I went to Humber College, and this is, again, way back, Photoshop, Quark Express, like all of those tools. And so got my web management program there. And then the rest is history. I didn't even know that was going to be the thing. Because again, it was more the people, the sociology, the wanting to be a nurse, but it was the entrepreneurship and the technology that really has opened the doors. And here I am, 20 plus years later.
And in reading about you and some of the things that you've said, you've talked about AI not just being a trend, but really a new way of working. How do you see women, or how do you help women like us see themselves as creators, not just consumers of the tech, but actually creators?
Yeah, so that I would say comes from we do a lot of different workshops. We just this year alone have done 2 Women in AI Futures Weeks. And what does that mean? When instead of just doing a workshop, which is great, or doing, say, an online program, we created an experience where every day there's some sort of touch point for you, whether that be participating in just an intro to AI. And we've amassed a great roster of instructors and educators and speakers. So you come and you hear something that might pique your interest if you're new, and to help you with your what we call like AI literacy, so you understand how it works for you. And then we have social activities as well. So then that is, okay, we're meeting over dinner with a speaker, and or straight up hands-on labs to help. Because that immersive, what we've heard from our attendees and our students is that immersive experience. You come in the first day potentially not knowing very much or some sort of knowledge, but through repetition, through immersion each day, that what it does is it affects your confidence. Going back to what we were speaking about earlier, you're getting young girls into technology, into STEAM. It is a part of it, a major part of it is confidence, because we like to get it right. We like to, get it perfect. But if there's a space for you to ask whatever question you want, no question is dumb. By that Friday, by the end of the week, you've either made an AI a bestie, or a tool that is now going to be your AI bestie.
And these two events you've talked about, are these in person, virtual, hybrid? How has it?
Yes, so
been logistical?
they're hybrid. So the one that we did for a week in Atlanta, that we had first online, because again, we have a global community. So we wanted our first one to still have people involved. And then the rest of it was in person. The second one was Cannes, and that was fully.
So, I'm sorry, full stop. Stop, wait a minute.
Yeah,
By the way, I was
back
at
up.
Lions Festival of Creativity. Could you please tell us? It's my dream to go to Cannes at some point. So if you need someone to show up with you next year, please let me know. But
I
could you
shall.
Absolutely.
please tell our audience certainly about that and your participation in that?
Yes. So thank you. And yes, because of this experience, like I just have a whole new perspective on how we'll be able to bring more people along with us next year. But and I think if we just even think about just the alignment, because it was at our Atlanta experience where we did it for the entire week, that someone was there and it's like, hey, I'd love to bring this to Cannes. And so we got an invitation to help them with programming. And then unfortunately, things didn't work out from a business perspective. And we said there was already someone on our team who has done other activations in Cannes. So we said, hey, we're going to give ourselves a couple weeks, and we're just going to go all in and produce our own experience. So what went from helping someone with just talking points and helping them get speakers was us literally programming an entire week. And so for those who are not familiar with Cannes.
Yes, please tell us.
Yeah, it's the Cannes International Festival of Creativity. So this is where, not to be confused with the film one that happens in March, this is your advertising agencies, your creative directors, that entire world, and the business and ecosystem that makes content and marketing really work. But this is where they come for your think tanks, your big conversations, your parties. Let's be very clear too. Your yacht
But
parties.
that's networking, right? That's how make the next contact or something else.
Very, very true. And yes, like you said, that someone had shared this with me, and it was like to be there and to see it in action, like this is where deals are made. And I was like, oh, so this is not only did we create room for women to hear, and there were also our allies as well, create room for these conversations and for people to meet each other. But then when we also went outside and were participating in other people's activations, like I got a chance to meet, D Nice. And it was,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Nice.
you meet people.
By giving and creating room, you actually ended up in the room.
I love that. Yes, that was exactly it. So it is, us doing that. And we knew too, Cannes was not the environment to do hands-on workshops. So we also, had to shift it so that we had dinners. Dr. Anino Emwa, she's the founder of 100 Women of Davos. So that's when you get into...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Davos.
It was, when I tell you, like, it was just people... This is, and Natalie Black, she's also with Culture by Curate, who we worked together to put this together. She said, this is where people... If you are there, they believe you're supposed to be there.
Thank you for joining us for the Best of Boss League Volume 1. If today's stories inspired you, please share with a friend. Don't forget to listen to us. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Like, follow, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, may you be well.
That's a wrap on another episode of Boss Leap. May this conversation enlighten your path toward personal growth and professional empowerment. For more thought-provoking and eye-opening discussions like this one, head to our website at bossleappodcast.com. Always remember to celebrate your wins and trust yourself. A positive mindset can push you out of your comfort zone and into far greater heights. Until next time, may you be well.
Before we go, there's one more thing the lawyers have asked us to include. It's the legal language, and you know how doctors love lawyers. This podcast is presented only for educational and entertainment purposes. Although we are doctors, on this show, we are just your friends. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Understood? Awesome. We'll see you in the next episode.